What's up, everybody? Day number 86 of 10 random magic cards. Let's see what the first one is. Will we finally use an Ask the Audience this week? We're determined to do it this time. First card is Flamekin Village, printed in Commander 2014. I really like this Ron Spears art here. This is a land. When it ETBs, you can reveal an elemental from your hand. If you don't, Flamekin Village enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for a red, or you can pay a red and tap it to have a creature gain haste until end of turn. I seem to remember a very similar land to this in Lorwyn, or at least maybe I'm just remembering the elemental theme in Lorwyn, and that's why I'm remembering this card as part of that set when it wasn't. Altogether, if you're on elementals, ETB's untapped. Says target, it's not even target elemental, target creature gains haste for a red. That's pretty good. So I'm going to give this like a solid 6. A little higher than you might have expected, right? But even if it ETB's tapped and you don't have an elemental or whatever, like, you have the ability to give your dudes haste for the rest of the game. That's pretty good. And you get the sick art, too. So I'm going to give it a pretty high score. Hey, Ziggy. He wants some attention. You'll get it. Don't worry, bud. We'll move on to Uyo, Silent Prophet from Champions of Kamigawa. 6 mana, 4 and 2 blue for a 4/4 legendary Moonfolk Wizard with flying. 2, return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand. Copy target instant or sorcery spell and choose new targets for the copy. Another one of these things that lets you return lands to your hand. It's pretty common on the Moonfolk back then in the Kamigawa sets from 20 years ago, whatever it is now. Too long ago. This does cost an awful lot of mana. 6 mana is so much, but this lets you return 2 lands. And it has a pretty sick ability. Copy an instant or sorcery is crazy. That is very ridiculous if you're using it correctly, right? But just returning 2 lands to your hand is pretty good in like landfall decks and stuff like that. So if you're Simic Landfall, I could see reserving a slot for this in Commander. I really could. I don't think it's terrible. And I'm going to give it a 5.3. I'm so serious. It's really only good in landfall, but copy an instant or sorcery and get 2 more guaranteed landfall triggers? God, it seems okay. Or like, something with a Zeus lost but seeking. I guess she can't be your commander, but something with cards like that, it seems great to me, dude. I want to try it. Again, that's part of the point of the series, is to find like commander cards we aren't playing enough. And I think this one is actually pretty gross. I really do. We'll move on to Geralf's Messenger. We've already reviewed this card, but Geralf's Messenger is awesome. So good. Bathe in Dragonfire from Fate Reforged is next. This is 3 mana, 2 and a red for a sorcery that deals 4 damage to target creature. Not good. Just a baseline removal spell. We'll give it a 1.5, something like that. 1.4 even. It's just not great. Diabolic Intent is up next. Good old Diabolic Intent from Plane Shift originally. 2 mana, 1 and a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast it, sack a creature. Search your library for a card, put the card into your hand, shuffle up your library, sir. So, or madam, But Diabolic Intent was also printed in Brothers War, as you can see here. It's worth like $10 from the Brothers War and worth 17 originally from Plane Shift. So card is very popular in Commander, although not very popular in Standard, despite the fact that like there's decks for that card. There are definitely decks for that card, but still, this is just Demonic Tutor with sack a creature, which can be upside like pretty easily. So I'm going to give Diabolic Intent a 7.5. I think that it's one of the like top 5 tutors in the entire Commander format. This card is extremely powerful. And in case you didn't know, 7.5 that's a very high score for this operation around here. But we'll move on. Oh, this card's great. Tagirapur Ether Grid. This is 3 mana, 2 and a red for an enchantment. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. This thing, deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So it's target creature or player, which means that, you can't just like knock out all your opponents in one shot. Most of the time with this, I believe there are like infinite combos with it, but I just like it for its normal function of value. If you've got a bunch of artifacts out, a lot of them being like treasure tokens, I guess this gets a little bit worse now that Dockside Extortionist is banned, but still. You just tap down a bunch of artifacts and you can like one-sided wrath one opponent. It's pretty good, man. It's also a form of inevitability. If you just have a few extra artifacts and you're dealing like 3 to 4 damage to them every turn by tapping down your artifacts before they say go, then like that's pretty gross too. I don't know. I've just always really liked this card. I get a kick out of it. It's been in one of my Commander decks that I've built, and I've liked it there. But I get reports from other people that they like this card too. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. a very long limb that I could easily fall off of and give this card a 5.6, which is high, but it's very unique. There's not a lot of cards like it, and it actually does something really, really powerful. I want to give it like a 6, but you'll be mad at me. Some of you will be mad at me if I do that. We'll move on to Witness Protection. God, I love Witness Protection. A single blue mana for an aura that enchants a creature. That creature loses all abilities and is a green and white citizen creature with base power and toughness 1/1 named Legitimate Business Person. It loses all other colors, card types, creatures, and names. So, Legitimate Business Person jokes are fun, but until Unable to Scream came along, and I think this still has a case, this was like the best piece of removal like ever printed in my mind. You know, Eaten by Piranhas is double this, but it is flash speed to do the same thing, and that's very good too. But Witness Protection is a single mana. It's a blue Swords to Plowshares. It's unbelievable, man. I'm going to rate this higher than you want me to, and I apologize in advance for that. But I think this is a card more people should be playing if they're not already playing, if they don't have better options in their blue deck in Commander or whatever to remove stuff. I think Witness Pro is actually very, very good. Very good. So I'm going to give Witness Protection a 5.9, and you cannot stop me from taking that action. This again, I just think this is a really, really very good, better than Pongify, like removal spell for blue decks that you should be on all day. I miss you, buddy. But we'll move on to a Night Whirl Hermit from Bloomborough. This set kind of just came out in the timeline, and I don't really know this card. This is 3 mana, 2 and a blue for a 1/4 Rat Rogue with Vigilance and Threshold. As long as 7 or more cards are in your yard, Hermit gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. It's that guy. It's this guy of the set. As long as you have set mechanic, this blue man can't be blocked. There's like one in every set at lower rarities now. This is that guy. So effectively a 3 mana 2/4 Vigilance can't be blocked. Still isn't actually very good, even when you get the work in. So I'm going to give this like a 1.9 or thereabouts. We're going to look at Rootwater Commander. Commando? Sure, he's going Commando. Printed in Nemesis. 3 mana, 2, and he really is going Commando. He doesn't have any clothes on at all, actually. He's 2 and a blue for a 2/2 Merfolk with Island Walk, and that's the entire card. That's the whole card. It's even more terrible when you really consider it, like Lord of Atlantis, which is in every single Merfolk deck of ever created of all time, gives your guys Island Walk anyway. So it's like, who cares if this is just like a Scathe Zombies? It's terrible. 1.2. We'll move on to Frilled Oculus. We just got a Borant Oculus in the most recent set. Let's see what a Frilled one does. 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a 1/3 Homunculus. You can pay 1 and a green and have Oculus get +2/+2 till end of turn. Activate this ability only once each turn. This is only ever printed in Gate Crash. For a reason, it is draft chaff. For the most part, it's pretty awful. I'm going to give it a 1.18. Throw that score out there and see if it sticks to the wall. Last card of the day is not Swamp, although I will give this a 5, as I give all basic lands. Cold Steel Heart. We've already done this card, actually, and it's not bad. Prairie Stream we have not done, however. This has been printed lots and lots of times. Let's go to where it was originally printed. Some Zendikar set or another? Yeah, BFZ Standard. Or just BFZ, I guess. This is a land. It is a Plains Island, as a matter of fact. And it enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. So, good dual land here, which you can get for like 15 cents. It's just decent, man. Especially if you have fetch lands in your deck, which you probably do, to make sure that you can actually hit your basic land count. It's also basic land types. You know, it's a Plains Island in this case. And that is always way better than it might appear at first glance. So, I'm going to give these a 7. Just a straight 7. They're a very powerful dual land. And that'll get you a 7 all day. But well, good ending card, honestly. But that's it. We're at 9.5 minutes, and that's all the cards from today. I can't let that happen. We still have to do an Ask the Audience, so I guess we'll do a bonus card today. Because the video has to be at least 10 minutes. I mean, come on. I guess we must have gotten some stinkers today, you know? We want to be like Diabolic Intent was good. But we had to get some pretty bad ones for it to be that short, you know? Let's see. Wear Away is our bonus card of the day from Champions of Kamigawa. This is 2 green mana for an arcane instant. destroy an artifact or enchantment. You can splice onto Arcane for 4 mana, 3 and a green. As you play an Arcane spell, you may reveal this card from your hand and pay its splice cost. If you do, add this card's effect to that spell. So I've never really understood the splicing thing. I really haven't. There are some things that make perfect sense to splice, but it's just like, why wouldn't I play the Arcane spell and then pay this? Just pay the 2 mana for this after I play the Arcane spell. Why would I pay double what the spell is worth just to splice it onto an Arcane spell? You know what I mean? But in some cases, it is self-evident why you would do that. I'll say that, but not necessarily in this case. I'm going to give Wear away. I mean, it is a disenchant, but it is like way harder to cast than disenchant. We will give this a 4.1 because you'll almost never use the Arcane, like ever. You know what I mean? But disenchant is still a fine Magic card. So I see you, Ziggy. I'm going to pause between recording videos and just like cradle you and give you like 5 whole minutes of attention and pet you and call you a good boy and look into your eyes and be like, oh, Ziggy, you're a good man. You're going to get all that. You can rub your face up against my elbow all you want. You can knock whatever little dish that was on the table off with your tail and not care. It is totally fun. You're a good boy and you deserve love. But anyway, I got to pay attention to my cat because he's about to lose his mind. I love you all and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.